Going live, and we are live right now. I think 3, 2, 1. Here we are. Mike, how's it going? We have a very interesting and exciting topic today, brought to you by the suggestions of our Elite Fleet members. But
Brought to you by Audible. Oh, now, buildassetsonline.com slash or audible.com/bow.
Not yet.
Don't do that. It doesn't work.
Yeah. So, what's going on, Mike? We got a day in the life.
This is it. They're looking at the day in the life.
Yeah, they are looking at it. But no, we received this suggestion for this episode from our Elite Fleet member, Ted, and then some other people hopped on and said, "Hey, I wanna see that as well." And I was, kind of explaining what it looks like, and they're like, "Nah, I don't want to hear about you like walking around your house doing nothing. I want to hear only about the business stuff." So that's what we're gonna talk about.
Did they say that? I missed that.
They did say that.
Listen, Joe, the notes you made for this podcast, it's going to be hard.
I think we could do it, Mike. While we wait for people to join, you can work on some more notes. Get Fly Fishing says, "Sup?" Right back at you.
Uh,
So
I think I think you're digging us in a deep, boring hole with these notes, Joe.
I don't know. I
But
think it's going to be an exciting episode, especially if you mute your phone, because I just heard it.
oh my god. All right. They want to know. They want to know what a day in the life is. Actually, I should put the sound on.
Your phone literally goes off every 2 seconds.
I know you couldn't stand that.
What kind of notifications do you have going off? Is it like emails, Twitter?
I don't even. No, I don't get Twitter notifications. There was a sale. That was a sale just now. I don't know. Let's go back. Let's take a look at some notifications. It's a good intro.
Yeah, walk us through the notifications, Mike.
It's honestly Skype, sales, and emails.
Wow.
So
I mean, we get a lot of all of those things.
I know, I know. I think it'll be actually interesting to go over this, and
Yeah.
because I don't even really grasp it in my head sometimes, especially like on your side of things with. Are we going to talk about SEO, or do you want to just talk about the drop shipping?
No, we're gonna talk
Because
about.
I believe Ted asked about what we do, not
Yeah,
about dropshipping specifically.
I know. I picked this title because it was actually a YouTube autocomplete keyword, so I figured it could be good
Okay.
to get a little extra juice in the algorithm. But yeah, no, we're gonna
Okay.
talk about everything. I mean, as far as dropshipping is concerned, I feel like we don't really have much to say. Maybe in these past few days we do, which will be interesting. But I think
Yeah.
we'll talk about all of our VAs, our employees, their roles, all that kind of stuff. Get Fly Fishing says, "LOL, Joe's day in the life. Joe is playing Warcraft." I haven't been playing a lot of Warcraft lately. Actually, I've been
That's what your
trying.
Discord thing says, Joe. Do you realize that?
Oh, right now I think because maybe I have it open when I have it opened. But yeah, no, I've been doing a lot of indoor
You used to
gardening.
always
Yeah,
say it.
yeah. No, there was a point I was playing a lot of Warcraft, but like it's so hard to be good. Like the competition in that game is so stiff because it's such an old game, and like in order for me to make any sort of progress, like I really have to put like 10, like I really have to put a lot of hours into it, and
Mhm.
I guess I'm not really drawn to do that right now because we have so much other stuff going on, and like I said, I've been into the indoor gardening. Yeah, making micro. I'll show you guys my microgreen situation. I got these. Whoops, whoops. Where is it? Yeah, I got these arugulas, these mini arugulas growing. This kind of just my test batch. I have like a mixed greens that I have in another tray upstairs. I also have another like 3-tiered hydroponic system upstairs. But yeah, these arugulas are they're good. I mean, I'm
Nothing to
happy
sneeze
with this
at.
test batch. What's that?
Nothing to sneeze at.
No, they're growing nice. They're growing
unless
nice.
you're allergic to arugula.
I gotta tell you, the flavors are quite powerful when you get them like this, like freshly grown and not from the supermarket. It's got a lot more depth to it. But
Well, that's wonderful. All right, so shall we dive in? We got people here now.
let's do it. Let's talk about day in the life, multi-million-dollar dropshippers. If you're new to this channel, we've done millions and millions and millions and millions in dropshipping sales over the past few years. You may have seen by the screenshot of one of our stores, close to 6 million. We've sold 3 others for over $300,000. We have other stores that have done multiple millions, yada yada yada. You get the idea. But we're going to talk about what it looks like. So let's start, Mike, by kind of breaking down the drop shipping system, if you will. So right now, I believe we have 3 stores, or is it? No, we have 4 stores technically. Two of them are partnerships where another person gets a cut, and then 2 of them are just between us, and one of them we just sold recently. So we used to have one more that was just between us, but we just sold it for 108,000 or something. We have another video on that, another episode on that. So Mike, break down what it looks like. Like, what is the structure in terms of the management and the people working for us? What does it look like for these stores?
So, including the store managers, so we have the 2 people that we're partnered with that run their respective stores, and within our big store, we have probably 4 or 5 customer service employees. And thinking about that now, when we first started, that would have made me like throw up in my mouth to think about training 4 employees or having that much to do. Because if you recall, Joe, like our first few attempts at hiring employees and like doing outsourcing things was really bad. I think I mentioned this woman's name on a previous podcast and you got mad at me, but I don't even remember what her name was anymore. We had hired one woman to like run customer service for us. Like we found her on Upworks, and we just had a hard time letting go. And I think that is really one of the biggest symptoms for these new online business owners, and it's something that definitely holds you back from success, because once you kind of figure things out on your own, like how to do the ads especially, because once you figure out how to do the ads, as you crank it up, more things are going to start building up on the store side, on the front end. More orders are going to start coming in. And if that starts taking up a lot of your energy, you're not going to be able to put as much energy into doing ads or even want to up them, because it's going to mean more headache on the other side. So getting that other side, like letting go of that, is going to be your biggest task after you master ads. So long story short, like I said, one of the managing stores, there's at least 1 employee. The other one, there's like 5, maybe even more.
Mike,
we have,
Mike.
Yeah.
Mike. You remember that commercial, the Geico commercial?
Yes.
So I want to keep you focused here because I'm having trouble following.
I was getting to it. I was getting to the point. If I don't, cut me off. If I don't. But
all right.
5 employees on that side, and then the stuff that we run, we have 3 employees. 1 does sales for 1 store. 1 does like general customer service stuff and helps me out with the real estate business. And the other one manages another store and does my Kindle swaps and stuff like that. So all in all, we're looking at easily over a dozen employees, because it doesn't take into account what you do. But so what were you going to ask me, Joe, to bring me back on track?
Well, you brought up the one store we have, the biggest store we have, and how there were 7 or 8 people and it was making you throw up in your mouth, or how it used to maybe do that. But I want you to, because I want to know myself, I want you to kind of break down what those 7 or 8 people like are doing on a day-to-day basis. So because this store, I mean, how many orders is it getting a day? I mean, when I look at the numbers, I'm seeing.
Well, yesterday was like a slow day. It was like 20 something.
Yeah, I'm seeing between
yesterday.
20 and 60 sometimes, 60,000 a day. So.
Oh, revenue?
Yeah,
I'm talking number of orders.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
Well.
okay. So we're having a hard time with this situation actually because we're not used to managing a store that's like that it's on pace to do, you know, 1 million or 800,000 in sales a month. So we talk about how, you know, we don't want to be like Wayfair, but it's getting to that point. Not that we're even close in terms of revenue, but in terms of like, it's not just a little mom and pop thing that you can, you know, have someone sit there and manage. We need to actually start getting into the structures and like really defining employee roles and ways that people can slot in, and it has to be more corporatized. So what we're trying to do now is have someone on live chats, have someone answering each phone extension, have multiple people working inside the email inbox, have someone working exclusively on ShipStation managing orders. And so that right there is already like 5 or 6 employees, and then having someone process orders.
Yeah.
All while any sort of refund, any sort of escalation, we need to go to the manager.
Right. Right. So.
So luckily for us, we're not really super involved with that. We're more so, you know, I'm doing the ads and sort of overseeing and helping to course correct and make sure, you know, the train doesn't fall off the tracks. You've been having to get involved with that too. So that's really like a super far in the future thing for anyone that's just getting started. But on the stores that we own solely, it's much more relaxed.
Yeah.
You know, we just have 3 employees for 2 stores. We have a sales guy. We have a regular customer service person doing, you know, overseeing order fulfillment, overseeing sending stuff in, live chats, and then on a separate store, one person that just runs it all. And
Yeah.
so,
So on the
uh,
stores that we own, Mike, outside of this big store that we just mentioned, where I want to circle back to that in a second, but you'd mentioned that there's a lot of overlap with our employees who manage the stores that we own, and those stores, they're nothing to sneeze at. They're not doing 20, mainly because of the global situation right now. They're doing a solid probably, you know, 10 to
200.
200K a month, per month now. And we're still able to really manage that with a very, very lean operation. And like you said, we do have one salesperson, and then the other people, they have a lot of overlap in the business. So you mentioned that you have one person, doing Kindle stuff, and then another person, so there is a lot of overlap. And I don't want people to think that, because I think when our students ask the question, what does your structure look like? We really didn't have a need for a structure until this recent stuff started happening, where this one store where we're getting individual employees on individual tasks. We didn't really need that until that one store started absolutely blowing up, and then it became a problem. I think a lot of people jump the gun. They think, "Ooh, I gotta have all this figured out beforehand," but
Yeah,
you
you
really,
really, really don't.
yeah,
And I would urge people to not have that mindset that they need to hire someone to do customer service. And that's it. Like, people are used to envisioning jobs from like an HR perspective, as if, because you're used to applying for jobs. You apply for a junior engineering, specialist job, or you apply for a burger flipper at McDonald's. And it doesn't have to be like that. And I remember watching a presentation from James Schramko about this exact thing, about hiring and running employees and stuff like that. And he just laid it out so simply, like you can make up job roles and it could be whatever you want.
yeah,
So that's really the approach that we take now, I guess, when we hire. It's that, well, we hired our first person, and we needed them. Okay, you'll help out with emails. We'll teach you to you can send in orders, you can answer phones, blah, blah, blah. But over time, like when you have this person there, you have to force your mind to say, okay, what else can they do? And that's really how things slowly come together. Is like you may have a specific need that you hire someone for, but you don't have to have the job role fully defined. Just have them start doing what you need them to do, and then come up with other things, other tasks that you can give them. And
Yeah.
now, you have someone that can do product uploads and take phone calls and kind of help out with your bookkeeping, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's really important to understand that when you have a job like, like in a fast food restaurant, you got someone flipping the patties, you got someone at the fry station. That thinking about jobs at that specific of a level doesn't really work until you have like an economy of scale situation. Because, if you run like a mom and pop restaurant and you're not doing the volume of like a McDonald's, like it's ludicrous to think that you need one person at the fry station that's frying the fries, and that's all they do is they dip it in, they dip it out. So it's really the same thing with online business, is that when your store is doing, like, I would even say when your store is doing 200,000, when we're talking high ticket drop shipping here, so 200,000 in orders from 1 to 10,000 in revenue. So when your store is doing that per month, I mean, it's really not a big deal to have one or two people just run the entire operation and do
Mhm.
multiple things. So,
Exactly.
yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. And actually, I encourage people to read The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. It's all about outsourcing and like creating processes within your business, which I certainly had a hard time with. But I know you haven't read the book, but it's actually, so going back to like the McDonald's thing. First of all, that's why McDonald's is so successful, because they have everything so compartmentalized that it's all mathematically worked out. You have someone at the fry station getting $6 an hour. They're turning out this many fries. It's like it's so dialed in that it's predictable income. But what, say, like Michael Gerber in that book would recommend, he would say, okay, write down every single task that you have in the business, and then what you do is you we never did this, but he would say, okay, draft up like a job position for each job. Say, okay, product uploader, you're going to do this. Email person, you're going to do this. And what you do is, if it's just two of you, you actually print out and sign like you're accepting the job with these requirements, and the other person does the same. So if it's just two of you starting the company, that's what you do for every single role. And then you take one thing, start outsourcing it, and slowly over time, you start getting rid of these roles. You rid them of your responsibility, and you pass them off to others. So I don't know if I explained that too well, but that's kind of how I think of it now. Is you have to sometimes even just writing it down like on a piece of paper. Like, what did you do today? Did you send emails? Did you send in orders? Like it may take maybe a week or two to actually dial in on the exact processes that you do, over the course of a day. But once it's clear and it's on paper, then you can hire someone and say, okay, these are the things you need to do. And then after that, it'll kind of become second nature.
Yeah, and I think I was having this conversation. I don't even really remember with who. It was one of our students probably a couple months ago. I think people severely underestimate the amount of stuff that they would do in their business in a day. And what I told this student was like, every time you make a mouse click, like, it should be painful to you. It should be painful to you to have to open up a window and log in and do like even like 5 or 10 mouse clicks to get a task done. Like, that bothers me. Like, even for something that simple, like I can say, oh, I'm gonna do this and it's only gonna take me 20 or 30 minutes. But I don't want to do that, because that's gonna exponentially add up over time. So you have to have that attitude of, I don't want to. You almost have to have the attitude of, I don't want to do anything. And you should work to get to that point. You're never going to get to that point, obviously, but you should strive to get to that point. And the
Yeah,
more,
I feel like we do that, but we wind up just getting busier.
yeah, because it allows us to take on more stuff. And we've already kind of broken down. I hope it was satisfactory to people. We've kind of broken down the drop shipping operation. One thing I do want to add, and maybe
Yeah.
we'll cover this a bit later, is, and here's an example of how we could we get busier. In that store, the big volume store where we have a bunch of people on it, you know, now Mike and I are stepping in and we're saying, okay, we really need a better system than the basic system that we have that we use for our
Mhm.
lower volume stores. So now I'm spending time, looking up different CRM systems and contacting different people who might be able to build a CRM to do it the way that we need for our processes. So those are the painful clicks that I'm going through right now is doing that stuff. And because yeah, when you get the repetitive stuff out of the way, you can better streamline the stuff you have other people doing. Um, so yeah, that's what it comes down to. I think the next step, and our one of our friends actually tells me to do this all the time. He says, yeah, you should just hire like a manager, like to do our stuff for like 100K a year. Um, so I don't know if we'll ever do that because I never say never. I don't want to say never to anything like that because like you never would have thought we would have had 5 to 6 people working on one store. But the point is yeah. Now once you get people doing the repetitive stuff and you don't have to go through a series of so many painful clicks, you can start really thinking about the systems. But before you need that, there's no reason to think about it.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe even for that store, it's worth hiring, say, someone and pay them like 50 or 60K just to be the manager.
Yeah.
And then now, like, our partner who's managing it can step out of that and just focus on, say, like suppliers and just, I don't know. You always find things to do, honestly, and
Yeah.
it's a bit I guess that's part of the journey, but we have over 15 people watching, so if you guys have questions, like please ask them because it's going to be kind of hard for us to. I don't know. You may have certain things you want to know, and we're happy to answer them, but we may not get to it if we're just kind of speaking to each other.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot more. I personally have a lot more territory to cover on the other parts of the business. But Paul L asks, do you run your own ads or outsource that too?
That's one of the things I do not recommend outsourcing because most people do not understand the business, and even if they do, and for high ticket dropshipping, that is, and even if they do understand high ticket dropshipping and how to run ads for that, they're not going to know about your products and your margins and anything that goes on inside the business, like if a conversion isn't tracked. So I think from those things alone, anyone that you would outsource that to would be at a severe disadvantage in terms of like an agency. But what you can do if you really want to play like a long game, say is hire someone in the Philippines or something, and just make them kind of your ads apprentice, and just go in with them, every day or something, and kind of teach them about how to run your ads, and that could work out. It may take 6 months, a year before they're actually really good, but it may be worth it.
Yeah. Anthony DeLeon asks, why is Joe wearing a shirt with Mike's face? This isn't Mike's face at all. Does Mike have hair like this? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. This is someone else's face. But yeah, no, I think that's an excellent point, Mike. I remember when we did have an agency do our ads for a bit. We worked so hard to we put together this spreadsheet and it had all the margins of all of our suppliers and all of our products. And I feel like it got totally ignored. It just got totally lost in the whatever their
Yeah.
systems were.
Yeah,
So
they don't have the capacity to do that. They're operating with multiple clients. They're focused on like such top line stuff that they can never achieve the results you would achieve just by doing it yourself and like understanding, oh, we got 5 calls for this. Like we didn't make a sale on it per se, or maybe we did make a sale, but it was over the phone, so it's not going to be tracked. Um, an agency would have no way to like gauge that part of the business.
Yeah, yeah. So I think we covered a lot of stuff on the drop shipping front, and like Mike said, please give us some more questions about the processes for drop shipping, and we're happy to answer them. Do we want to move to what the Kindle publishing processes look like in terms of VAs
Yeah,
and employees and stuff like that? All right.
yeah, I think it's a segue because it kind of taper it kind of so Kindle publishing. We actually have one of the employees that runs our stores handle our email swaps and our promotions. So just another task. Like I said, it doesn't have to be drop shipping customer service and Kindle swaps as two separate job roles. You just say, hey, you're doing this, but I know you have some spare time, so I'm going to give you another task and just manage these swaps. So she does that. She will send swaps to our email writer, and we also have our regular book writers who will send me the book. I send it to the editor. I get the cover made. So we have cover designer, writer, editor, swapper, emailer, and then me. So that's 5 people that the process is dependent upon, with only one writer right now. So
What about me? You're forgetting me.
oh yeah, you too. You
Yeah, I do the Facebook ads. Like, don't forget about that.
yeah, and also if we're doing an audiobook, we need to have narrators, which we're not doing as many right now. But yeah, so that's including you and me, Joe. It's about 7 people for Kindle.
Seven
But
seven hands being touched.
yeah, yeah, but it makes it super hands off for us because I just kind of shuffle things around, put the book together, put it up. You just turn on the ads, which I know you do a good job with that for sure. But it's a very hands off for us, and it's all covered in our Kindle course, buildassetsonline.com/publish.
Yeah, and if you go to that page, buildassetsonline.com/publish, you will notice that in the sales video, I say that we spend like 4 hours a month collectively on Kindle, and the dollar per hour rate is quite high in the sales video, and now you know why. It's all true because of the process that Mike just so eloquently described.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's a really simple one, and that's why Kindle's so good. Is because it's just so natural to you can put everything in each box, writer, editor, and it's not like you need to have these people on full time. It's like one of the easiest things to do on a task by task basis and hire that way because that's the nature of the jobs.
Yeah, yeah. So, should we move on to the blog stuff now? We can definitely talk.
Well, so yeah, I think that's good because actually within Kindle we have our blog that's associated with our fiction books.
Yeah, yeah. And to be honest, not much happens on that right now. It's kind of just sitting there. It gets maybe like 2,000 hits a day from SEO and
Nothing to sneeze at, Joe.
No. It's nothing to sneeze at. Nothing to sneeze at, definitely. But not much is happening with that in terms of growth. But I will say that action is being taken on the Pinterest front, and I'm going to get to that process in a second. So for those of you that don't know, our good friend of the show, John Dykstra, released a Pinterest course, buildassetsonline.com/fatpins. And he's been doing a lot of in-depth work with Pinterest lately. So this is an area, I personally took the course, and I'm going to be working it into our blog strategy because, he's driving some serious traffic. And so so let me circle back to that, and I'll break it down from the top. So right now, the way the blog sites are looking is that we have a single writer who we pay around $2,000 to $2,400 a month, just depending on how much work she does. Sometimes she works on the weekend. It's kind of up. I leave it flexible to her, depending on when the muse strikes her, and she wants to write. So basically what it comes down to is I give her a list of keywords that I research, long tail keywords, and she has access to all of our WordPress sites. When she needs access to the Shopify stores, because sometimes I'll have her do some work on there, she gets access to that, and she has access to my Canva account. So that's how she makes all the images. And I give her the keywords. She writes according to my guidelines. She makes all the images on Canva. She uploads it to WordPress according to my guidelines. She fills out all the SEO metadata, the title and the description. She knows what categories to put it in a given site, and she presses publish. So it's really great how it's become so much of a hands-off process. And a lot of people, when they do content sites and blog sites, they'll order content from like some sort of content broker. They'll get it back, they'll edit it themselves, they'll upload it to the site. And I'm never doing that again. I'm only, because that the beautiful thing is the blog sites grow without doing anything. All I have to do is provide her the keywords. And honestly, she kind of blows through them really fast, so I have to do a lot of research sometimes, but it's like, really once every 1 to 2 weeks is I get in there and do the research. So yeah, that's been working out well. And like we were talking about before, doing it that way has really given me a chance to take a step back and evaluate what's working and what's not working. And, just because I have time, like I used to write a lot of this stuff myself. And when I'm doing that, I'm actually like almost like acting more emotionally, like because it's my content, I want it to be perfect, rather than just looking at the straight SEO like metrics or whatever, like what's the keyword, is it ranking, why isn't it ranking, blah blah blah. So yeah, that's how that works. And so another overlap that we have within that business, like I said, I'm starting to follow John's method of Pinterest acceleration. And so we have a guy that for Build Assets Online, and he edits this podcast, and he can do graphic design. He does graphic design, does audio stuff. So he edits this podcast. He makes like the Instagram like post, like the Instagram, like it's like a little clip that he uploads to Instagram. And he would, that takes him maybe like 5-10 hours a week. So I knew he did graphic design, and I was like, hey, why don't you step in and make some pins for us? And so now he's going to be doing that like 30-40 hours a week. And it's it's very seamless to say, when you have these resources at your disposal, I could take John's course and be like, all right, I want to try this out. So let me just use the resources I have to implement it. And I think that's one of the benefits of having staff at your disposal, because it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about, right, like you don't need to have the job role purely like fully spec'd out when you hire someone. And it's for that reason. I mean, you may bring someone in and say, hey, I want you to do Instagram stuff. But honestly, like the more people you have hired, the more you can just find something you want to do and just immediately put a lot of attention and focus into it through your employees, because you can only do so much at a given time. But that's really what has allowed us to scale in the past, like even 1 or 2 years, is we say, okay, we're going to do this right now. And we're not just like running by ourselves to tackle the problem. We're running with an army, and we can send someone in and say, hey, go do this, go do this, go do this. And it allows us to just really build something up much quicker.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like, if I had just taken this Pinterest course by myself, like I know exactly what would happen. Like I would go through it, and maybe I would make a couple pins, and I'd be like, oh my God, there's no way I'm doing this. And then, cause I would get distracted with like doing any of the other things that could come up. And then I would forget about it. It would fade off into the background. But to really, to really see if it works, to really test it, you got to fully execute it. And so that's, having people at your disposal helps with that full execution.
Yeah, that is truly the plight of the solopreneur, if you want to call it that, is just taking in new information becomes so hard if your plate is already full, because you have to take in this information And now once you take it in, it's like, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. And you're thinking about all the other things you have to do. And you develop a lot of resistance towards going and doing this new task, and it winds up never getting done.
Yeah.
So that's why you always have to be doing new things, but then clearing them off your plate, giving them to someone else so you can do more new things. And yeah, it's not like, sometimes employees have free time, and that's okay. If it works out with, like, you should be doing a business where you can afford to have, an employee can sit around for 1 or 2 hours out of the 8.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, Mike, we're kind of getting into the halfway point of the show here, so please ask any questions. Do me a favor, just check if you're on the right Wi-Fi, because there is like a lot of delay and robotic noises going on. You say you're not?
I'm not. So let me
Yeah, let's
do that.
reconnect. I'll man the ship here.
Keep
So
entertained.
yeah, so I hope it's been valuable up to this point. I mean, as far as I think we pretty much broke it down. We don't have a perfect corporatized system for any of this stuff. It's just we're really figuring it out as we go, and I think that's perfectly okay. I think if you're thinking about, you should be thinking about outsourcing very early on, but you shouldn't be thinking about like systems that you don't have a need for yet, in my opinion. So yeah, I think did you reconnect? I think you look a lot better now.
Yeah, I connected.
Yeah. Tim says, let's all vote for Mike buys a new computer 2020. He doesn't need a new computer.
Hey, if you want to buy the course, buildassetsonline.com/asset, buy the mentorship package 2 times. I'll buy a new computer. I'll coach you with it. That's your first assignment, Tim.
Yeah, no, he was just on the wrong Wi-Fi thing, which, he does a lot. There's a lot of preparation that goes into this podcast for Mike. My computer is just a desktop that's plugged right into an Ethernet cable, but Mike has to like switch rooms to get closer to the router. He has to change the Wi-Fi networks. He has to bring all his equipment and plug in the mic and plug in the camera. So, sometimes he forgets to do one of the steps.
Yeah. Forgive me.
Yeah.
They're revolting.
But you are sounding a lot better now, which I'm sure everyone is happy about.
Okay. Great. Now that we've exhausted all topics.
Yeah. So, I mean...
I think when it comes to dropshipping, I do think, like, what we do in particular for training employees is we train them basically on a brand by brand basis. And so what we do is we'll give them essentially a long list of all of our suppliers and say, hey, the supplier, this is who you contact. Almost like a phone book, essentially, but like almost like a contact sheet for every single brand that we have. And actually today I made a flow chart for like the process of dropshipping. That way, when new employees come in, I can show them, hey, this is exactly how it works. And we have videos on how to use ShipStation, videos on how to use Asana. So,
well, we didn't quite talk about that, Mike. We didn't talk about Asana. You mentioned ShipStation, but how does Asana fit into the dropshipping workflow?
So it's good for like employee to employee type, keeping things on track, and also if something needs to be delegated to a manager, say like a refund, or someone's having a big issue and you have to call them and kind of make things right. So Asana just essentially allows you to create tasks and assign them to people and assign deadlines. So that's really all it is. So if you want to give a refund, your employee talks on the phone and someone's canceling their order, they just go to Asana, is it refund, order, blah, 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 assigned to Mike, deadline today. And to be honest, we've kind of outgrown it because our team kind of works pretty well together now. So it's like they'll just message me and I'll do it. But in a bigger situation, like if your store is getting kind of out of hand or if I'm going on vacation or something, I will use Asana, because that way I can log in once a day, see what my tasks are, see, what I have to handle, and then I can just boom, 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 I'm done for the day. So Asana is really good. Yeah, if you do want to like not be involved and like go do things during the day. For me, I'm, most of the day I'm doing something on my computer. I'm working on something so I can quickly handle situations. They don't need to assign me tasks. But yeah, that's why Asana is recommended, and I believe it is free for most situations. I think that's it.
Cool. Yeah, I think we don't have much else to talk about. We could talk about the merch coming soon, or should that be a surprise? I don't know.
I don't even know what it is. So
Me neither, but it's coming.
okay,
Uh,
cool. So when we were talking about the blog thing, it actually made me realize usually what we try and do is like step out of the business to a certain degree to where we're just focusing on one task. So, say for dropshipping, like the only tasks that we want to focus on or do at all, for me is ads, and for you would be like calling suppliers.
yeah,
So I think really if for dropshipping, if you're just by yourself, those should be the two things you do. Like you can get rid of every single other thing if you in terms of Shopify, like editing and stuff like that. Just find someone you like on Upwork or wherever and give them, hire them on a freelance level, like one-off tasks type things. You have Fiverr, and you have your employees running the day-to-day. So realistically, if you have a well-running dropshipping store, all you need to do is log into your Asana once a day, see what you need to do those things. Even if you're doing 200,000, 300,000 in sales, it should take you less than an hour a day to do that. Check the ads maybe once a week or maybe even less, and call some suppliers, if you want to increase the revenue, and then pass off the suppliers to your product upload team, which we didn't even talk about, Joe, but we do have.
yeah, we do have a product upload team. I think
We
I
have a
could.
separate upload team.
What'd you say?
So we do have a separate like team of people that do product uploads for us.
Yeah, that's pretty much on an as-needed basis, though. So it's not like they're
Yeah.
part of the permanent team. But Mike, I think I can simplify this whole thing we've been talking about into really just one major concept: is that if you're doing any online business, the goal should be to outsource everything, and you should be dedicating your brain power to getting more traffic and the right type of traffic. Now, of course, there are going to be things that come up when the traffic is flowing that you're going to need to address, but the goal should always be offload everything else but the traffic. And I think that is your job as someone who owns an internet business, I guess, at least at the level that we like to run them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so for blogging, the traffic situation would be keyword creation.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. That's the one thing you need to get right in order to have everything else in your business go well. You need to put out articles for the correct keywords so that you rank, and then everything else will fall into place. How you monetize, whatever, everything in the article, whatever, you can get rid of all of that. Kindle is honestly a bit of an exception because the traffic kind of that we are outsourcing the traffic to a degree because we're outsourcing the swapping of it. As far as like building your list and stuff like that, I know people who actually outsource that thing too. Like they have their VA essentially go on BookFunnel or any of the other things we recommend in our course and just scavenge for things that they can do to build the list. So, I haven't done that because I'm a bit lazy, but it's definitely possible. And that's why, again, Kindle is like its own unique sort of class in the industry.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't mean that. I guess that you should be out getting all of the traffic, but I'm saying that paying someone to figure out the strategy behind getting the traffic um, is probably like, if you do that, you're at like the corporate level, I would say. You know?
Yeah, that's when you start crossing over into corporatizing things. Is when you actually take these really important tasks and you start outsourcing those, but like with bigger budgets. So you need to actually pay someone like a good salary who understands what they're doing,
Yeah.
and they can come in and help with that. And we see blogs that take things to that level. We've talked with a few of them, and we're talking about that in like our last episode. Some big blogs, they have teams of writers, and they have teams doing outreach, and you can get that level, but is it worth it? I don't know. Like if you look at what John does, I think he really has it. He's really perfected the craft of like just owning your own business.
Yeah, I actually we do have an outreach wing that's growing. I took one of our VAs that was working on a website that the tasks he was doing were not really paying off that much. So, he's really smart. So I actually told him, here's the concept of how to do outreach. I want to have you use a software called Buzzstream. I don't really know how to use it, but here's how it basically works. So you go figure it out. And he's been doing a good job, and that's underway in terms of outreaching for cross promotions and potential link building for websites and stuff like that. All white hat, of course.
Mhm.
Nothing too crazy, but yeah.
I'm trying to read Anthony's question. But at first, if I can't hire someone from the beginning and with a job with 1 day a week off, would it be something too difficult to handle on my own? So he's asking, he only has 1 day a week off from his job. Would dropshipping be too difficult? You know, it would, depending on your job and like how much free time you have during that job, and like I don't know if you're working outside and don't have access to like a phone or what have you, but it may not be the best course of action to um, do a drop shipping store. Might be better off doing Kindle or doing a blog site.
Yeah, it obviously also depends on how much money you have to invest. So the difficult part would be, Anthony, not so much running the store when you first get it off the ground, but I think getting the store off the ground would be the difficult part because, we're talking about all the things that we have to do to run the stores, but we only really have to do those things because we're making sales,
Yeah.
and we're making, I guess, what you could call like a good amount of sales. So we have a lot going on, but if your store is under, 50K a month, and which could really equate to, 2 or 3 thousand in profit. If your store is at that, I mean, it's not going to be nearly at the level that we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, like if I'm thinking about my job that I had, I could have easily ran a dropshipping store that was doing 50K a month, like from my job, no problem. But again, if it's a situation where you can't answer your phone all day, or it may just be like you could do it, you can make sales without answering your phone and call people back later, and or whatever, like route them to text or route them to chat or route them to email and kind of do it on the slide. But just kind of depends what you want to do. It's not that there's all these things that need to get done like out the gate. That's just when you're managing $1 million in revenue a month.
Yeah. Silver Mushroom asks, so dropshipping can be simplified to copywriting plus negotiations. I'm not really sure what that question means. If you're new to the channel, Silver Mushroom, we don't only do dropshipping. I know the title is about dropshipping, but here at Build Assets Online, we do a bunch of different business models. Copywriting is a big part of that, especially for our blog sites and for our Kindle business. I don't know what you mean by the negotiation part, but yeah, hope that clarifies things for you.
Do we know you, Silver Mushroom?
Yeah.
think I know who that is, but
Is it one of your?
yeah, there's not really copywriting involved. You're just copying and pasting.
Yeah. Is it
Maybe
one of?
you're negotiating with suppliers, but
Yeah. Is it one of your goons? Like one of your friends?
it might be.
Okay.
He threw me off with that question.
Yeah.
What else were we talking about? So we talked about all the dropshipping tasks that we cover or our employees cover. Oh, we have a bookkeeper, Joe.
Yes, we do have a bookkeeper, and I actually have to log into the QuickBooks. I haven't looked at it in like 2 or 3 months because it is such a it's very a low ROI activity, but it needs to be done. But yeah, we have a bookkeeper, and he basically sorts things into QuickBooks. He does the reconciliation of what, like, looks at the accounts, the credit cards, the PayPal accounts, and basically reconciles things like this is what came in, this is what came out. So that's good. We split.
Because I mean, that was we really are victims, not victims, but we're guilty of outsourcing things too late, and that was definitely an example of that. Because we just it came to the point where you were spending just like I guess weeks on end, like before our tax appointments, just
Yeah.
freaking out over all our expenses and getting that together.
Well, it would really come down to like 1 month out of the year.
Yes, 1 month out of the year is a month where Joe has to lock himself away and just basically lose years off his life trying to figure out like all of our expenses. So
Yeah.
finally said no more. We're hiring a bookkeeper, and I think it's been good.
Yeah.
People ask us, do I need someone to do accounting for me? Do I need someone to do all these things for me? Like, I think you can get by very, very, very leanly at 200,000 to 300,000 in revenue, total revenue a month. And if you're by yourself, that's a great income. Have 1 or 2 employees just doing customer service, and you like 2 customer service employees, someone to do product uploads, and you're fine up until you hit 300,000 a month. Then you could start thinking about other things.
Yeah.
Everything else, all this other stuff we have now is just because of we have we've 5 stores and 10 sites and a Kindle business. So a lot of this won't immediately apply.
Yeah. There was a lot of crossover that we mentioned. Anthony DeLeon says, "Okay, understood. Because I saw another video of one of your students how he was answering calls in class. Haha, but my job, I wouldn't be able to do that." Yeah, I mean, that was on a high volume store again. Like on a lower volume store, the phone is not going to be ringing off the hook, and by the time the phone is ringing off the hook, then you should have more than enough money to have someone answer the phones.
Yep. Exactly. That's exactly it. But when would you say would be a good time to hire your first employee?
I think it depends on you. I mean, it's hard because it really. I think it mostly depends on your financial situation. Like when I first quit my job, we weren't doing drop shipping at the time, but when I was doing Amazon FBA, like retail arbitrage and stuff, I was using the money as like my salary. Like that was what I lived off of, was for the profit from the business. So, when it was immediately cutting into, I guess it was more like less practical, I guess a little more scary then. But I would say, depending on your life, if you don't need the money right away, hire as soon as possible. If you do need the money from your business and that's kind of your only source of income, I would wait until you're making enough income to where it can cover like your expenses and stuff, and then you can outsource.
Yeah. I would say I wouldn't want employees to be more than 50%. Like take 50% off of the total profit.
Yeah.
But
We didn't mention there was one process that we didn't talk about, Mike. One of our businesses, that is the real estate wing of our stuff. Do we want to talk about that or not really?
We could talk about it. I did mention a little bit that one of our dropship customer service employees, I also have them now answer phones for our real estate business, which I guess we could talk about a little bit more. Basically, I don't want to get too much into it because we already talk about enough things. But long story short, we're buying and selling land on the internet. So within that, we really just implemented everything with like our full force of our employees and all the resources we had. So we paid someone to set up the website for us entirely. Once calls started coming in, we just had one of our customer service employees slot in, answer calls, basically gave them, breakdown of people are going to call about this, they're going to call about this, they're going to call about this. This is what you say for each of them. And then if it fits this criteria, you can transfer to me. So we were basically able to, and we actually just hired someone now who will do more of like the nitty gritty tasks that Joe's been doing in terms of like lead management and doing videos for stuff. So yeah, that's a process we're working on building up as well.
Yeah. But on my end, a lot of the nitty gritty tasks were like, um, you know, making videos, processing images, just things that we knew while I was doing them for a few months that we were eventually going to have someone to do this. But as we were feeling out the business, we kind of I was kind of doing a lot of that stuff, and Mike was taking more calls, and so it's just like anything else. Uh,
Hmm.
Gaming with a bad dad. What?
Is that it? Gaming with maybe no, maybe his name is Abadad.
Okay, gaming with Abadad. How much would it cost to start a dropshipping business? Well, if you go to buildassetsonline.com/asset, we do have the costs broken down. But Mike, I mean, it's really not that expensive. I think Shopify has a 90-day free trial now, which is pretty crazy. So beyond that, once you start having to pay for Shopify, there's really very minimal costs. So Shopify, I think, is like 29 a month. Once you actually have to pay for it, you have to get a phone number, which could be another $20 a month, and then you have to start running your ads, which we, recommend. It's always a little bit of a different answer there, but say you start running your ads $30 a day, that's $1,000 a month. If you do everything the way we tell you, you should make your first sale, and you should be well on your way to breaking even, or even being profitable depending on your execution. So it doesn't really cost that much, if anything. I mean, yeah, that's basically the breakdown of it. I mean, there's not really many expenses other than ads, which you should be profitable on pretty quickly. And plus, you get a $100 free coupon with Google. So once you spend 25
Yeah.
bucks,
Yeah, you could easily be profitable from like the first week you start your advertisements. And if you're in the elite fleet, we try and help you with that as well, so that you don't go off the rails with your ads. Because I think it's definitely something people struggle with initially.
yeah,
Is understanding like how much they should spend and stuff like that. And it comes down to your budgets. But if you start slow, there's no reason you should not be profitable in your first 1 or 2 months.
okay,
Yeah, Tim is saying you need to get a resale certificate and an LLC, and that was $300. And yeah, I mean that's not too bad to have a functioning business. So just think about it like that.
I mean that's kind of the cost of doing any business. What do you
Yeah, well, but it is the cost of doing business, and I think a lot of people are stuck in the mindset of they don't want a business. They want to just have the YouTube cash cow machine and just make videos. Hire someone to make League of Legends videos and just make bank.
Silver Mushroom back with another question. My question was badly phrased. I was thinking in terms of what related skills one should focus on to best ensure their success in dropshipping.
Google Ads.
There you go. The master has spoken. The dropship daddy has spoken. That's the number one
And
skill.
getting suppliers, like figuring out like finding good suppliers, finding the suppliers and running the ads.
Yeah. There is a little bit of a learning curve there, I'd say, with how to research products. I feel like I forget that because, I mean, I think for us it's kind of easy. Whereas I feel some of our students, some of the questions that I see come through are like I feel like they don't. I don't know. It just takes a little bit of practice, spending a few hours in researching Google and clicking around. But I feel like until you've put a good 5, 10, 20 hours of research in, it's not going to make sense right away. But I mean, that's a small price to pay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Joe, where are we at in terms of our monetization?
with YouTube.
Yeah, is today the day?
Now today's not going to be the day. I think we have less than 300 watch hours left in order to get monetized. But I don't even know how much it's going to help us. Like I don't know. I mean,
I feel like it's another like notch on the belt,
yeah, it is another notch on the belt. They make it. I mean, YouTube doesn't make it easy. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah, 1,000 watch hours and 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers. I mean, we got the subscribers, but the watch hours is tough.
They really make you slave away.
Yeah, it used to be you could do it instantly. Crazy. So yeah, we have less than 300 watch hours left. So I think in the next few days, it should hit. But then we have to apply. They might reject us.
Yeah. So Mike Babs says, "What live chat app would you recommend?" Aren't you in a course, Mike Babs?
Yeah. Build assets online. Yeah. But for the viewers out there, buildassetsonline.com/Tidio, TIDIO. That's our recommended live chat affiliate link if you want to throw us some bones.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do with Tidio. Tidio has quickly become probably the best live chat app in the game. Back when we started using Tidio, we just started using it because it was like really light and made the website move a lot faster compared to like a lot of other software, a lot of other chat apps. It was very basic, but now it's like you can do anything in Tidio. They've done a splendid job.
Because they have a good corporate structure.
That they do. And as people have seen in this video, we do not.
No.
So I guess we can end it on that.
Well, why don't we read Gaming with a Bad Dad's comment? Abadad. Sorry, it's so hard. I'm sorry if I'm botching your name, man. I just keep seeing a bad dad. But if your name is Abadad, I'm sorry. But yeah, he says, nice. I want the course. I need to learn ecom.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, that's it. Go get it.
Yeah. You need the course if you need to learn ecom.
Yeah. Michael Laco says, hey all, but you're too late, Michael. We're signing off. We have better things to do.
Yeah.
So,
we got to get back to our corporate day in the life.
Yeah. We have a couple meetings. But
we do.
All right. Well, another one in the books. Oh, another question.
Why with the last minute questions?
I don't know.
Understand it. Yeah. I don't understand it at all.
Something with YouTube, man. I don't know. I'm not blaming the audience here. I don't know what it is, but Michael Burke asks, Joe, are you still using KGR? I just started with it. I do like KGR a lot, and yes, I still use it, and I definitely still look at that metric as a keyword research metric. The thing is that the thing I think that KGR misses is that, first of all, I think they're, if you go beyond the 250, like 250 volume uh, per month, I think you can tweak that a little bit as long as it stays within. So say you have a keyword that has a volume of 1,000. You can pretend that that keyword has a volume of 250, and as long as you keep the ratio, as long as you divide the all in title by the 250, even though the keyword has 1,000. That's one thing I'd recommend. The other thing I'd recommend is, I think it's really important to actually go through the all in title results and see, because a lot of, you have a lot of auto generated sites and spammy sites. So, the KGR numbers can be misleading, but I do think that it's a really, really great metric, and using the all in title as kind of a guiding light is a great thing, especially as you get the hang of it. So, but I also don't even like to look at keyword volume as a thing. So yeah, I love KGR. In some ways, I tweak it a little bit. So hope that makes sense, Michael Burke.
I think that made sense.
Yeah.
Is that covered in the blog blast off?
Well, yes, in many ways it is. I try not to get too technical in the blog blast off, because, of course, we're talking about other forms of syndication other than SEO. I really wanted to leave the blog blast open, by the way. buildassetsonline.com/blast, our free blog course. I really wanted to leave that open because, a blog is like, it could be a lot of things. Like, not everyone is going to want to start a blog the way that we start it, going for SEO. Like, you might have a mom that's like really into crafts and stuff. And so she might want to use Pinterest, or she might want to use, YouTube or something as another traffic source rather than going purely for the SEO play. So I wanted to leave the blog blast off open in that regard, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Mike Babb says, with KGR, I noticed that Pinterest and Amazon pages are ranked first and second. Can you outrank these? Well, I think it depends on the Pinterest and the Amazon page. I would check out the page itself. I've never actually I've run into Pinterest, and yes, you can absolutely outrank Pinterest. If you Google the actual query, you'll often see that Pinterest is not even on the actual front page. It's only on the all in title front page. So that's another thing I do. I like to check the actual front page along with the all in title front page, because if I see a Pinterest page that's on the all in title front page and it's not ranking anywhere on the first page, that tells me that they can easily be outranked. Because you might think of Pinterest as a powerful site, but Pinterest has God knows how many pages, billions and billions and billions. I don't know. It has a lot of pages, so it's not like Pinterest is easily outranked. That's not even a question. You can send so many more relevant SEO signals. So if you're gonna say rank for best lawnmowers for a 5-acre yard, you can send so many more SEO signals to Google, through your tags, through your H2, H3 paragraph tags, than like a Pinterest board or pin ever could. So you can easily outrank them.
Cool.
All right, good stuff. We'll take it out. Buildassetsonline.com/asset, our dropshipping course. Buildassetsonline.com/membership, our elite fleet, work with us one-on-one, private Discord channel. Buildassetsonline.com/playbook, our free course. Learn how to build your online asset portfolio the right way with the playbook. And of course, buildassetsonline.com/publish, our Kindle course. We're getting so many compliments on the Kindle course, Mike. I have to say, I don't mean to toot my own horn here.
Are we?
People like it. I think we did a good job of it. Maybe we're not.
Glad. Oh, people like it. People like it. So go and buy it and see for yourself.
And of course, buildassetsonline.com/blast. Free blog course. Go get it now.